it has taken us these 10 years to really get people to understand what we do, because it can be a little abstract. Some people think we give out loans. Some people think the government is funding it, right? So when we start explaining that the money is coming in from this enormous support network that we have built for ourselves, most of it is coming in from people who have an emotional connection to Monteverde, who love and believe in this place and are looking for a transparent way to give to the community. But if you give $1 to one specific project, that's helpful for that one specific project. If you give it to the community fund, we're going to split it up and we're going to make sure that it goes to all of our different funds. My name is María Vargas. I do communications and fundraising for the Monteverde Community Fund. So our mission is to unite diverse resources, shareholders, and strategies in order to support and promote sustainable initiatives within the community of Monteverde and the communities that surround the area of Monteverde. We're a small team of 4 people that make up our team here at the Monteverde Community Fund, but all of us are very active in different committees and different community spaces, listening and understanding what the needs are. And once a year, we open the opportunity for people to send in their project proposals so that we can channel the funding that we receive from our donors and from our support network into these projects and in the way of seed capital. A group of neighbors came together to share some of their ideas about some of the problematics that they were finding in the community back then. 10 years ago, things were a little bit different in town. We had a very strong rush of tourism where we were receiving up to 200,000 tourists in this mountain. And even though that brought abundance economically, it also brought a series of concerns to the people who lived here. Off the top of my head, a few of them were a new dollar mindset, a rush to get tourists to visit your business, to visit your hotel, your restaurant, etc., creating a sort of disparity between the people earning in dollars and earning in colones. Another one was the proper use of land and the respect that we have for the forest. How many people can we have up here in the mountain, for example, was one of the questions that were raised. And all of them really around the 3 basics of sustainability, right? Questions came up about the social aspect. How does this affect a community that is a small community from locals, right? But that is receiving so many people. And the other ones being, how do we protect our environment? And how do we make it so that we have a forest to share with the people who are visiting? And the economic aspect of it, of course. How do we make sure that this newfound abundance is distributed evenly amongst the people who live here? And how can we work towards creating opportunities for people who perhaps have felt a little bit left out in this process of transforming into such a famous touristic destination, right? It usually starts around May, and now in August we know what the proposals are, and we start looking at our numbers and seeing, each one of them can receive up to $4,500. However, sometimes it is negotiated that they might receive a little bit less in order for us to be able to support a larger variety of projects. It all depends on how successful our fundraising was the year before to prepare for this. Whenever we receive a proposal, we have to make sure that it aligns with our mission, right? So we are looking for specific things. We want to know how long this project is going to exist for. Is this a long-term or a short-term project? I think both are valid. It depends what the proposal is. If it's a long-term proposal, do they have or are they looking for ways to be self-sustainable? Is this money going to be used towards creating mechanisms for them to raise their own funds in the future? That's really important for us as well. We like to see a variety of people who are part of the group. So we usually ask for the groups to be around 5 people or so. These people could be neighbors, they could be friends, they could be co-workers. However, they can't be one single family. We want to make sure that the money is getting distributed and it's going to benefit more than one family. was an idea that came up during the pandemic. We were hit by the fact that our borders closed, and you realize, Monteverde depends so heavily on our visitors. It's not healthy. You need diversity, and you need different ways of receiving income and really supporting a community. So when we were having our meetings, I remember when we switched over to Zoom and started having our online conversations about what we were going to do and how we could help. One of the things that came up is, well, we have X amount of money saved up. We could either give out $4,500 grants, or we could make them as big as $500 and support way more projects. Everything was happening really fast. Things were changing really fast before, so we were all going through the same learning curve. But very quickly we managed to get, board and team to agree that the best thing to do was to get quicker turnaround and smaller grants given out, and it was excellent. So to be able to support projects and initiatives like that also, I believe, gave them the mindset that they don't have to depend fully on tourism, because that idea can be dangerous. Another one that doesn't get mentioned very often, but I think is just like this added value to the work that we do here, is the fact that my coworker who works especially in the grant department, he is teaching people to lose their fear of applying for a grant, because applying for a grant can be intimidating, and paperwork can seem like a headache if you've never done it before, and really, going into the details about how you use your money, where your money comes from, what are you spending, what materials do you need. This allows community projects to really get organized, and even for them, I think just the whole process of filling out these forms helps them do a little bit of insight. We really want people to look that on and to see an opportunity and not so much something that is intimidating or scary. So that's something that I always like to mention, is that even if perhaps this year your project wasn't approved, there will always be really good feedback as to how you could do a stronger, better proposal next year. And we encourage people to come back and give it another shot. And we've had cases where, next year they come and they're fully prepared, and you can tell that they have grown as a community group. And I think that's really important as well. So we have a few different ones. So we have the Smart Economy, Environmental Fund, Youth Fund, Social and Cultural, and Climate Change, as well as an emergency fund, which is important when something like a pandemic happens or even a storm. So there's a few different strategies that we use. Usually when we're campaigning for all of the funds, we try to keep balance, because let's say one year maybe a lot was taken out of the environmental fund, so we might have to balance that out next year and try to get some more donations coming in so that we can balance our accounts. Since the pandemic, there has been a bit of a shift in the focus towards younger people, young adults. I would say people from 18 to their late 20s, more and more. However, before that, perhaps it was a little bit more oriented towards grown-ups as we know them, 30 and up. But the pandemic really made us think and about our priorities, and when we realized that most of our young people in the community were depressed and not leaving their homes and didn't really have very many public spaces to go and have conversations about how they were feeling, or even guides, local people who can guide them through their emotions, through the changing reality, through even climate anxiety and all these new things that we're struggling with. We felt it in the proposals this year. There was a strong movement towards the youth fund. We have been collaborating since day one. When the community fund was founded, it started with an invitation from CREST, the Center for Responsible Travel. They had an event at the Monteverde Institute, and they were inviting neighbors to come and talk a little bit about held at the Monteverde Institute. And that's where people put their heads together and said, you know what, a Monteverde Community Fund sounds like an excellent idea. So you could say it was practically born in one of their classrooms. And from there on, we have been collaborating ever since in many different ways. I think we have both benefited from each other. The Monteverde Institute has a very strong structure, an excellent work ethic, and a lot of experience in working with students and foreigners. And then they also benefit from us because, we are constantly looking and receiving funds, looking for and receiving new funds. And every now and then they come up with a project that needs a little extra boost economically, and that's where we can help. And they apply like everybody else does, so that's important to clarify. It's not that they just ask for money and we put it in their bank account. They do the application process like everyone else, but they know their stuff and they know how to make a great proposal. So over the years we've had different opportunities of collaborating in a variety of different projects, from more of the social part, working with communities, to food security. They had a great project on food security, to even supporting local entrepreneurs with important and very useful information as to how to make their business something that is abundant and successful. So that was excellent during the pandemic. They made a series of videos that were going out with very important information that otherwise you might need to pay for to receive. And we are here not to compete with any local government or for people to believe that this is the only way where you can access funds or grants. We are here to really complement the work that the local government is doing and to find a release so that the people don't continue having the idea that things are always going to come from the top, right? Most of the great things are going to start together up from the ground.